Actually, we should do that, like, episode 2.
Well, did you just do it now? Are we rolling?
We're rolling.
Okay.
This is the best intro ever.
Do your thing.
This is going on the internet. So I think I was the only one who didn't actually enjoy 1984. I didn't think it was written well. I thought the message in it was really good. But other than that, I didn't like it. And a few months after I read it, and I didn't read it for school or anything, I just read it because it's one of those books that I feel like you kind of have to read. So I read it. And several months went by, and I thought about it again. And in the book, there's this weird... it's hard to describe. Like, there's this cloudedness, kind of. Like, you don't really know when a new scene's coming along. It just kind of develops. Every day is the same day. Kind of a fog. Mental fog is in the book, I guess. And as I thought about it more, I think that was intentional. Because, of course, the guy in the book is living in a... It's not even a police state. It's something worse than that. I don't even know what to call it. And each day just drags on because you can't be yourself. You can never have freedom of expression because you're always being watched. And that kind of enters into what we're dealing with today, where the government is watching you in every way they can. You know, it started out with just wiretaps and everything, and everyone knew about it, you know, the Patriot Act, and it's much stronger now, in that the government's watching you via Facebook, Skype, Google, anything electronic. You should just assume you're being observed all the time. It's 1984, almost exactly.
It's actually 2013,
Oh.
by my calculations.
Like the book, maybe not so much like the year.
Of course. But the whole... you can see why they would try to observe us. Because if you have the capability of preventing something, you wouldn't want to allow that thing to happen just because there was some potential moral or ethical thing stopping you. If it could save people, because then that itself becomes a moral, ethical dilemma. Whether or not you should eschew your standards of morality in order to save someone.
So, for people who don't know...
Yeah, PRISM is a program we've just discovered that the NSA has used to access basically everything on the internet, all the information from Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Yahoo, Skype. Probably more, right? Those are just the big names, but
there's a lot.
Why stop there, right? And it's just all the emails and the live chat and probably your browsing history and downloads. I just assume that when we know it's this, it might as well be everything. And it's been going on since 2007, it seems.
So once you start gathering information on people, there's no like logical point where to stop.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say. Thank you.
Yeah.
Both in terms of the breadth of information gathered and the fact that you can't just stop.
Like they might as well have like all 10 Bing searches.
Yeah.
All 10 Bing searches ever. You know, get them all.
It's all in a database somewhere, and because there's so much information that you can't just have it all, and there's no one sitting there at a computer like reviewing everything as it comes in, right? It's just a database. So if you come up and you're a person of interest to the government, they go to the database and they search the files and they see what comes up. At this point, if you're a normal teenager, or let's just assume you're like a 10-year-old now, you grow up to be 30, you're an activist or something, you're angry at the government, you start doing stuff. All they have to do is search your name, and they can find, you know, whatever pictures you had on Facebook that you thought were deleted or something, and they have them, and they could just do things. Like, do you know what the government did to Martin Luther King Jr.?
Well, what could they have even done?
I have no idea.
To him? They told him to kill himself.
Okay.
He was cheating on his wife, and they told him about it, and they basically said, like, hey, you should just kill yourself to avoid this kind of embarrassment.
That's crazy. What if we told Tiger Woods to kill himself? That'd be so stupid.
No, wait.
Yeah, that's true.
But I thought, didn't JFK end up being all like, woo, we should totally back this guy?
Yeah, I don't think that's the right time frame.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not sure, though, honestly. Because, like, 60 somewhere.
Yeah, because in the early 60s, like...
Who was after JFK? Lyndon B. Johnson, right?
Don't put this on me.
I think it was Lyndon B. Johnson. I think that's about...
Let's get back to PRISM, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you come up as a person of interest, they can do whatever they want to get you out of it. Because there's no safeguards with this. They're not going to... Like, technically, they go to the Attorney General, and then they go to a FISA court. But the FISA courts are just a rubber stamp, basically, saying, oh, yeah, you can do this. This is constitutional. Don't worry about it. When it clearly isn't. So you're trusting everything to the government, basically.
it's putting a lot of power into the hands of very few people with nothing to really keep it in line. Yeah. And that's the issue with it.
Even if you assume the government is full of perfect individuals, they're still going to mess up at some point. You know, they're going to get the wrong person or something. Or, you know, if you're running for a political campaign, and Obama's been basically proven to have done this, is to have the IRS sicked on the Tea Party. You know, and that's one tool they have, the IRS, major one. So, like, can you imagine what they do if they have this? And all they have to do is... It makes their life much easier.
I think the backlash, maybe I'm jumping ahead too far on this topic, but I think the backlash for our government is going to be a lot worse than for other countries, given how like technologically advanced we are. And I say that because a lot of countries where all the citizens are just completely under control by the government, they don't have the same. Oh god, what the hell? Like they were either like before we had lots of technology, they were already under control. Or they still don't have it, but we don't have that kind of situation.
I think I know what you mean. Like, there's not as much of a flow of information, perhaps. Like, they can't just, like, have things, like, spread. Like, an idea can't, like, spread from one side of the country to the other in any country. Course of the day.
I'm sure there's, like Middle Eastern countries, right? They've had, like, basically dictatorships, whatever you want to call them, like, going way before computers, cell phones, Twitter. So when they grow up and they're up to date with these things, it doesn't even matter. But our country didn't start that way. We started on the basis of freedoms.
Yeah,
I have no idea what.
That is actually a good point because like
the fact is we've had like a good separation between the citizens and the government and like not being over controlled. That if they wanted to completely take over now, it's too late. That's like, what I meant to say.
We've tasted the sweet air of freedom, and we don't want to not breathe it anymore.
We got that shit bagged. It ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, it's how America views herself, right? We are the protector of freedom. Whenever we go to war, it's to protect freedom. Like, if you're a politician and you don't want to wage a war, you have to include that somewhere because people are going to be like,
oh yeah, freedom.
Like, you want to invade Iraq for oil? No, we're not going to let you do that. Although there is an increasing amount of people who want to do that kind of thing. But nowadays, you have to... Freedom. Where's freedom?
Freedom from a foreign oil dependency!
Yeah, well, like...
That is a pretty good angle, actually.
I know, that's why
I think people go a little too far with their articles and their bumper stickers or whatever about, like, you really think you still have freedoms here? Because, honestly, compared to most of the world, we do, and we have a lot of it, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because we were founded on not being, like, overshadowed.
Yeah.
And that hasn't been broken down
yet. But basically we're the Roman Empire at this point.
We had a good run.
The executive branch is pretty much a dictatorship at this point. Congress doesn't do anything.
Well, I mean, that's...
I just feel like the mold's harder to break with
It's true. A lot of this is because we're in...
information.
Like, in 1984, we're in a perpetual war on terrorism. No one even knows what terrorism is. If you look up the definition...
It's true.
It's hotly argued. So we have a major war against a word which no one knows what it is. And we've been in the war for 11 years.
Ooh. V for Vendetta. You know how, like, they said a man can be killed but an idea is bulletproof? There might be a little truth in that one. When you're trying to kill an idea, maybe it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, perpetual warfare is always the enemy of freedom. Like, the Founding Fathers really recognized this, but they didn't think it would be a big threat, because we were the United States, the biggest powers were 3,000 miles away, and we had just, beaten Great Britain. The biggest and strongest guy on the block. You just went into a club, you beat up the strongest guy there. Afterwards, what do you think? Like someone else is going to beat you up? Hell no, that's not happening.
Good point.
Well, I mean, we did have
run this shit.
We had a little help from our friend Claude next door, so I mean, that always helped. But yeah,
Frenchie.
They were giving us guns and stuff, right?
Yeah, same people.
Yeah, but I'm saying, if you get rid of the war on terror, then the freedoms will start to return, and because that's the only justification for this kind of thing, right? You need to protect people, and I think the people who do this are coming from a good place. I'd like to believe that, some of them anyway. I'm not sure Dick Cheney is coming from a good place.
I am not.
I think there are buzzwords you have to keep afloat. I think the media maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist. I think the media runs politics at this point, though. That's partially because. In a way, I study, even if my classes don't directly study the media, I take everything I learn in them and just apply it to what I see.
Mm-hmm. Your tin hat fell on the floor.
Shit, dude.
Carlos!
I don't need a tin hat, apparently. But, damn it, where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, if you get rid of the idea of the war on terror, that's no longer a selling point to be reelected. If you legalize gay marriage and smoking pot, those are no longer points to be reelected. So there's some things they're like we're dragging along like the dead corpse of legalizing pot at this point because it's just been beaten to death by everyone. So like,
abortion too, right?
Definitely abortion, dude. People will argue about that forever. That's the one that's going to take the longest.
We're not going to argue about that. Just by
but
the way,
I'm not here to argue the validity of any of those issues, but I'm saying
they are issues.
If you solve them too quickly or too completely, they're no longer selling points, and that's why I think politicians want those problems to keep being problems.
Yeah,
but they're trying to push it to a point where like, hey, most gay people are married by now, right? But it's still enough of a problem that they can campaign and get their crowd behind them.
Yeah, well, yeah, it depends.
That's legit.
Each of them wants to be reelected, so they have to have issues to be reelected for.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine if you had a perfect world, there would be no politicians.
There wouldn't be.
For more reasons than one.
Because I'm no expert, but I think, like, I forgot the name. Someone who was running for president said, like, he's against gay marriage, but he's smart enough to understand that people just aren't going to agree with him, and it's not his place to argue with it.
That's a really mature stance to have as a politician, by the way. I'm
obviously paraphrasing. He was basically said, I'm against it. I think it's wrong. Way too many people are for it to be, for me to not.
Well, I mean...
Of course he didn't get elected.
Yeah, but, which is a shame, because he's taking the stance, I personally don't agree with it, but my personal opinion is exactly that. It's my opinion.
I think you do underestimate the anti-gay population, because Rick Santorum is going to run again in 2016. And I'm looking forward to that. Me and my friend have a joke about Rick Santorum.
What's the joke?
It's kind of a running joke. We were watching the presidential debate, and I'm really into politics, so I don't follow sports too much like you.
Well, I can fill in the blanks.
Dude, runs, man.
So I love the political stuff. It gets me active and love commenting on it and everything. And the joke we had that was running with Rick Santorum was before the debate. He was talking with his wife, and he's like, "Honey, where's my butt dye? I have to paint it red, white, and blue."
His what?
His butt dye. He paints his butt red, white, and blue because he's always talking about America.
His butt dye.
His butt dye.
Excellent.
It's just a running joke because he was talking about Cuba or something and how he had to save them from the Islamic threat in Cuba, and it literally it made no sense. So we're like, that's the joke we came up with. Honey, where's my butt dye?
I'm unsubscribing from this right now. I'm done.
What?
We were doing something. I don't remember what. I won't go on this tangent for too long. But we were running we're at Herman Cain levels. Remember that?
Yeah.
Or it was your buddy Connor or whatever. It was like, shit's running at Herman Cain levels. I was like, the fuck does that mean? And he's like, 99999. I'm like, fine, dude, whatever.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Political humor. I'm all about it.
Anyway, I don't really know where that came from. But anyway.
I don't know where we just went. Okay.
Other stuff.
Are we still on PRISM? Have we covered that?
So
hide your kids, hide your wife, because the government is raping everybody out there.
That's sadly a good approximation.
But you have to end the war on terror, and then all this stuff can go away, but no one wants to even talk about the war on terror. So this has me really worried about things like Google Glass, because the government has open access to Google, and if you're walking around with a camera on your face, just put it together.
Yeah.
They can search for you in their database and find videos of you. Do you always talk candid? Like I just said butt dye about Rick Santorum. Imagine if he became president, searched his little archive, that came up, and he's like, oh, you know what?
Yeah. Don't
like that guy.
You know what's interesting about that is that, Google legitimately doesn't want to take over the world, because they could. Because everything is through Google now. Everything. Right? I mean, I think... the hinge of information is good.
I mean,
we just want to make cool stuff.
Yeah, because
they just want to see what people do, and then they want to help them do that thing.
I don't
better.
want to blame the companies too much because it's not their fault. I mean, what do you do when you come up against a government that says do this? They could put you out of business.
See, here's the thing: because Google is their product that they purvey is information.
That's fucking crazy. That's genius.
Information is everything that ever existed and ever will exist. They have a perfect business model. If the government has a hand in that, they control everything.
Yeah.
They probably, I don't know if they do, but they probably could influence the way searches come up.
They try to.
I don't know if that's even a thing. But
they try to, yes.
Have any of the higher-ups from the... Oh, no, that was... We just read about that. It says, a lot of these companies are denying that they even knew that this was happening. I was going to say, what are the higher-ups saying? But they're like, Wasn't even there.
Yeah, if you're smart, you're not touching this topic. You're not talking about it. You're going to fire your assistant and say, "How dare you?"
Yeah, right. Who let this happen?
There's that intern.
There's going to be a lot of people
An
there.
intern's like...
Carlos, what did you do?
And at that moment, over 52 Carloses were fired.
By the way, if your name is Carlos and you're listening to this, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Probably scared you. Carlos.
Speaking of Google interns, that movie looks like ass to me. But
Interns?
there's a movie
called
coming out that's
Internship.
basically a 2-hour commercial for Google. It's like Vince Vaughn and...
Owen Wilson.
Because the company that needs to advertise is clearly Google, because no one
Yeah.
knows... Anyway.
It's funny.
Vince Vaughn's gone downhill, man.
I
Dude, Dodgeball's peak.
I don't follow
No,
movies.
I don't want
Dodgeball's
tangents.
one of the best fucking movies ever.
But Microsoft is one of the companies that has been pretty much giving your data to the government. And again, I don't blame the companies, but it makes me... I think this is my biggest reservation about the Xbox One, honestly, is it has to be hooked up to the internet all the time.
Oh, they make
And
such
it won't
cool
work
stuff,
if
though.
it's not hooked up for 24 hours.
This isn't as new as we think it is, by the way, or maybe
No,
you
it's
guys
not,
know
but I
that.
mean,
Okay.
once you have the Kinect set up and it has to be functioning and everything, that's a camera in your house. That's straight out of 1984 where you have a television that watches you.
Yep.
This is literally your television watching you.
By the way, if that you do end up getting an Xbox One, just do weird shit in front of it.
I was gonna bring that up. I'd
Make them feel
I want
uncomfortable.
to clarify something for like maybe people a little less in the know about the gaming thing. Is that a lot of PC games have been online all the time. I don't know. I don't have a list. I just know Diablo 3.
Yeah.
From personal experience, they make you log online. So like for people thinking that's way messed up, that's been going on
Yeah, but
for a
people
while.
really hate it, though.
SimCity, the new one.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone hated it.
Interesting.
There was a
That's-
lot
that's
of
so
rage.
marketed for single player. I'm sure it's multiplayer by now, but
You got to integrate your cities with your friends' cities. And you
great. It's Farmville. All right.
Yep.
Let's get back to the Xbox
Yeah,
One.
people don't like it. Like SimCity had a lot of rage.
Can
Yeah.
I give my pitch on the Xbox One real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. I was thinking of writing this down earlier. There's like so much stuff that goes on in my head all at once when I think about this. But like, I'll start with phones, right? We used to have like the phone where you turn the thing around, and then we've innovated more and more. So now your phone has the time on it. Now your phone has stupid games on it. Now your phone has a calculator on it. And like with that innovation, it gets more and more awesome. I think the Xbox One has taken a weird loop and actually gone backwards. So if you look to game consoles, mostly what you pay attention for is like the just depth in general, like the better graphics, the deeper gameplay and all that. So like consoles get bigger and better and shinier and cooler. But the thing is, they've always been dedicated to games and bringing you awesome games, and that was the focus. And now we've gone from like the Xbox 360 almost looks like a bridge now to the Xbox One, which is effectively a crappy computer because they're like they have this big focus on fantasy football. That was the pitch I saw.
Yeah.
They're all about the fantasy football now because Netflix is already a thing, and you're recording shows.
That.
Okay, I just want to say that like it's trying to bring you into like all your Facebook and your Skype and your fantasy football and all that stuff. So it's basically a computer that you can't upgrade, and it's a computer without the keyboard that you can't upgrade. Probably has a worse connection because computers are just it's just not that. So like I actually think they've gone backwards with this. They've upgraded it so much that they've actually made a worse version of something else.
It's a great example of
So-
people not listening to their customers. Like everyone's saying, like we just want a console that plays games.
You'd think EA bought Microsoft or something.
What? There's. Funnily enough, that you mentioned that. EA is actually now trying to get. Either they're trying to get, or they have an exclusive partnership with Microsoft. Which is funny because EA is one of those companies that hasn't taken a hint from its fans, and everyone's getting angry at them.
Are they trying to incorporate Origin
I don't know.
for
Perhaps they
their
will.
online
Oh,
game
that'd be
market? Because
awful.
that would make sense, though.
Yeah, but it'd be awful.
I mean, yeah.
Also, the NFL is trying to partner with the Xbox One, which is why there's such a huge tie-in.
I think they basically already have.
Yeah, that's what it- yeah.
they're really big on.
How would the NFL partner with?
Should I explain Origin real quick? Because I just like threw
Exactly.
that.
Yeah,
All right.
sure.
So first of all, there's a program called Steam, and that is if you play video games on your computer, you have Steam, unless you pirated them. And even if you did, sometimes it's easier for you to run it through Steam for you to do whatever else you're doing. So anyway, Steam is basically Walmart on your computer, and it's all video games. It's that much stuff. And then Origin is basically EA's spin on it. I think everyone knows who EA is, right? They just make all kinds of stuff.
Electronic Arts, they've been around for a very long time.
So, and then Yeah, just want to clarify that.
I actually didn't know what it was. I thought it was a video game.
Origin?
I've always used Steam, so...
Oh, yeah, no, Origin, they want to be Steam, but
Yeah.
they don't have all the sweet hookups that Steam has, because Steam has everything now.
Steam is great, man. I love it.
Well, because that's why I am optimistic for the Xbox One, because it's literally just they're trying to make an all-in-one entertainment system. You can already play all of your music through your Xbox. You can already watch all your movies except for Blu-rays. Who actually has Blu-rays? And now they're trying to make it so that you can watch your sports through it. They're just at what point are they just going to throw in the cable box just like straight into the Xbox?
Yeah, but the thing is,
Like-
the move for consoles is moving away from them. Like, computers can do everything they can do, and they're usually, like... As soon as the new console comes out, it's better than the computer, but then, like, a year later, computers are already back on top. So it doesn't make sense to buy consoles, and I think at some point it's going to run out, unless there's some major new development. Which, as soon as it becomes, like, holographic and shit, then I'll buy one. Like...
Everything's upgraded at a pace now. We could probably have, like, the most insane kind of graphics and connection and stuff. But you can tell, like, basically the way Apple, like, spaces out their products, they probably have, like, the next 5 iPhones planned, right?
Yeah.
Because everything just comes out on schedule because they've already got it all mapped out.
It's like with Call of Duty games.
That too, probably.
At least every year. Every year at Christmas.
It's all planned.
It always will happen until the company goes under.
If you're gonna
because
make
it burns down.
If you're gonna make an all-in-one entertainment system, I think you need to market it as that. Because the people who are just into the video games are personally insulted.
That's a
by this
brilliant
thing right
idea.
now.
Why don't you just make
Their
two different
unveiling
products?
of this console, they didn't talk about games.
That is brilliant.
There was a trailer.
There's a reason for that too.
I mean, there's a trailer for Call of Duty, and they're like, "Oh, if there's a dog." Okay, I'm sorry.
No, yeah.
Cutting that train of thought, different thing, because this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Look, the guy goes like, "Look at this new AI system where when you go at the fish, they swim away from you." And I saw this video regarding that comment. It's like it shows that, and it shows Super Mario 64. You swim at the fish, and the fish swim away from you in that game too. I just cannot. I was completely blown away. Like my eyebrows are on the back of my head when I heard that like the fish swim away from you on this. I'm like, are you kidding me? The N64. Yeah.
Do you remember
Ten
bringing
Big
Mario to the 4th dimension? That's right. 4-player Super Mario Brothers. That's what it is. It's because they're stupid and they're using sensational words,
Why
Jeremy.
don't you just use...
Sensational words!
Why don't you just have two different products? Like, that's a really good idea. If you want just gameplay, here's one that's just gameplay. That's it. $150, whatever. If you want one that,
Sweet.
for your Netflix and all that kind of stuff, here's another one.
They already
$500.
And people are going to want to buy 2 boxes.
But
They
they-
want
but they-
one big
Well,
box.
the one big one could play games too. It's just which one do you want?
They already have the device that does Netflix, Hulu, plays your Blu-rays and all that stuff. They already exist.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My sister actually got
Oh,
one.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Okay.
They have
It's
cable,
cable box
boxes
thing?
where they break all that stuff into it now.
Yeah, it's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what it's called.
I'd be all for
I'm
it.
not in the know on that stuff. I just know it's out there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fairly easy to do. It doesn't have to be through the game system.
Just market it as an entertainment. Well, that's interesting because it used to be called the Nintendo Entertainment System, but that was all games. Now we're actually making entertainment systems,
But I mean,
and we're trying to market. But oh wait, they're we're pulling in the Call of Duty players. Wait, no, there's a dog in this one. Come back. It's so
Wait,
dumb.
dogs, right? Dogs are cool, man, and it's not trying to eat you, dude. Man, you can pet it.
This is where the Abercrombie and Fitch people were right. We're like, we want this specific audience,
True.
and they're going to keep those people. Microsoft's not going to keep the hardcore gamers anymore.
Well, I think they're
Everyone's gonna buy a PC.
The 10-year-olds, honestly, the 10-year-olds who really love Call of Duty.
It's true.
They're controllers.
There's
Still
money
legit.
in
The only time I was
controller looks good.
when I was most passionate about the gaming consoles was when I was younger, 13-ish maybe, was when I was all hardcore.
still
PS3, I
worship
want that
the
better than the
GameCube. I still
Xbox.
worship the GameCube. I bow down. It's the greatest
See,
thing ever.
it's kids get
360
really
is better because they can
fast
port
about these things.
GameCube games to it.
Do that?
My stance. They did it with Resident Evil 4.
Oh, port. I was thinking.
No,
I don't know what I was thinking about. You can port. You can always do that.
Which is why I bow to it.
But then the PS3, not the PS3, the PS4 now, they're getting so much good press. Their stocks went up by several percent. I heard they're just everyone's
Why?
all the
Because Xbox One's doing so bad, everyone hates it.
they've made commercials and ads specifically.
They haven't even shown the product.
PS4.
Yeah.
They haven't. Are you sure?
They've shown blurry shots of it From what I've heard, I could be a little late on the information.
Well, so
all I know is their advertisements. It's like they're basically saying, "Come to the dark side. We have games." That's basically what it is, you know.
Yeah, but
they get it.
E3 is like in a week or now, depending on when this ends up on the internet.
That is true.
So I mean, like they're unveiling and they're like, "Here's the product. Check it out. Think about what we're going to do with it," and then they're going to blow you away with everything at E3.
I'm sure they're not completely ignoring the press they're getting, Microsoft.
No, they're not. They're not. They're actually paying people to go onto Reddit and write positive things and stuff. But Reddit is such a hive mind that it's making no difference.
Well, I think the thing is that they're also trying to just... The way that Microsoft did it, they waited until the PS4 was announced and all the stuff about it, realized what they need to do in order to get good feedback and like work off of the bad feedback that the other company got, so their release or their announcement would be more successful. Mm-hmm. And now they're like digesting all the information that they got from their release or their press release on the product, and now they're going to use that to fuel E3, which is the event of the year, as always.
I feel like a good comparison to this is like if you want to buy a car, you want to buy a car that gets good gas mileage or looks good or whatever. And I feel like if Microsoft was making cars and it was like the Xbox One, they would talk about how it has a giant iPad slot in the middle so you can watch TV while you drive, which is brilliant. There's actually some cars that have really big panels in the middle, which makes me wonder if you can watch TV while driving.
Yeah, one part about that is that Microsoft's iPod or iPad. Yeah, they're not friends.
Okay, here's my connection like that. Here's what you made me think of. Beer commercials, you can't advertise getting drunk, so they advertise the temperature of the beverage, which is completely fucking stupid. But Microsoft is doing that, except they can actually advertise the games. Like, they can advertise the good part, but they've still, like, gone around, they're like, it's shiny, look, it's cold, or whatever. But, like, they basically advertise it like it's beer, where they should have just been like, look... Here's
like, dude, it'll make you feel so fun.
Minecraft 2! Whoa, no one knew it was coming! Like,
that would be brilliant, actually.
Right?
Yeah,
but anyways, they've
that.
advertised it as if they can't, like, legally show the good stuff, like beer commercials. So we're like...
That's what E3's for.
It's really cold, and we have a cool new bottle, and it twists and stuff, and like...
Let's design a better Xbox, like, right now. First off, it's Microsoft. You'll have a lot of money. Fucking buy Minecraft. Be like, we're gonna make a second one.
Someone will buy Minecraft eventually. It has to happen.
Yeah, because if you want to make something successful,
like Facebook's already been sold, and like companies buy companies all the time.
I change up the controller.
I feel like people get really mad about that. Like,
I put like stuff like on the, you know how there's like the part, the like legs, so to speak.
Yeah.
The way you grip it, your pinky and what do you call it, ring finger, aren't doing anything ever. Perhaps utilize those in a way, because eventually we're going to have some type of way to have... As games get more advanced, there needs to be more input.
Yeah, sure.
And there are controllers that are made for that purpose, kind of, except games, like... They're mostly made for first-person shooters, which don't actually have, so it's like, we have a jump button on the back of it now. I mean, they put buttons on the back of controllers, like modded controllers nowadays, so you can, like, have other things like jump on your pinky.
That's kind of cool.
So you're not taking it off of anything else. But I think, answer your thing... I think this wraps it all up. You have, let's say, the game console, and then it's some sort of like Netflix, cable, whatever box of all that, and you can detach them. Like you have different for each like main use of the product. You have a section that you can detach. So if you're going on vacation, and you only want the gaming part of it. You just like snap off the Netflix box because hotels.
Oh, like the Wii U thing.
That's
like you could just take the controller for the Wii U, and you don't like that's.
Yes, you can play. You can play games on that thing, right?
Yes. Really? That's legit.
Yeah. Have you seen the Wii U?
That should have been the selling point.
That was for the Wii U.
Like the only selling point.
Well,
like you can take it and play games on it.
It pretty much was.
He's got a good point. Early on, they weren't clear about that.
I was not aware of that at all.
There are games that say, "Look at the controller now."
Yeah.
Then you poke the menu. That's what
I thought it was. I didn't know that you could just. I would have been more inclined to purchase it if I knew that.
It's actually really cool. I mean,
still have part of it detached as a handheld. Have, be able to take apart the Netflix thing if you don't even want it, and just have it, and then have it reattached.
It's like building a computer.
It can be all horizontal,
so,
and then it sits on top, or you can put it all in one brick, or like.
I'm not sure if you could do this, but make it so you could play games on your smartphone. somehow, or some sort of game-related thing on your smartphone.
No. I don't want that to happen.
Well, you don't have a smartphone, so...
Yeah, I know, but that...
In regards to that...
Like, if you already have a smartphone, like, some sort of integration, because people would like that. Like,
I've seen
updates or something, I don't know.
This is not made by Microsoft. This is just some dude. He made, like, a controller with a stand on it that puts your mobile device in. So you hold the controller, which holds the screen, so it's like... It's kind of a cool cross between handheld gaming, because it's like a real controller. So I'm sure if that guy gets in contact with the right people, they'll be like, take all my money.
And I just... Because whenever I think of mobile gaming, I think of shitty Flash games that they just managed... They put a little bit extra glitter on, and are destroying video games.
That's why I think of Temple Run. Because you just like run forward and like shit dodge that. It's a good time killer. I get it. Like I'm not trying to get too deep.
Yeah, it's a Flash game.
Those are games you don't pick apart. But yeah, like they.
What about the Minecraft one for like the phone? I mean, I'm not a big fan. I've seen it and it's like, oh, I don't know. But it's Minecraft on your phone, like as good as it's going to get.
Yeah, how much time are you going to sink into playing Minecraft on your phone? If you're going to sink enough time to it, you might as well get it for your computer.
I'm operating under the assumption that people are stupid.
Like I put a couple games on my iPod Touch, and what I've learned is if I'm like. That's only relevant if you're out of the house, and if you're out of the house, you're probably doing something else anyways. That's my personal experience with it.
Like that kind of
good to have on the go, and then when I'm on the go, I'm doing something. So there's
guess it isn't.
Yeah.
Maybe if you live in a city, that would be a good thing.
Although some people, this is a rant I've just wanted to go on forever. People and their smartphones. Did I talk about this on the? Okay.
I don't care.
There's just there's so many ways you could attack this. Like let's see. Last January, I went to a Celtics game, and like this dude in front of me. In the row in front of me the entire time was like playing games on a stupid phone. The other day I was in a restaurant after work, and the people sitting across from each other were just fuddling around on their phones the entire time. I get so angry.
Yeah.
Especially if like I was in a college dorm like a couple months back with like 5 other people, all friends, like people I knew, and they all at the same time went quiet and like pulled out their phones and started texting other people. Or you're at dinner and like half the people... I'm going to issue a challenge. I know nobody listens to this thing yet, but when people are digging into our archives for cool stuff, the challenge is that you go out to dinner with your friends and you don't text your other friends. Just try it. It's crazy.
Shit, I've been doing that challenge for years.
Oh, I know, we're already winning, but like it like seriously pisses me off.
I mean, I feel sometimes
how antisocial people get on their phones is so.
Just be present. Like you're talking to other people to bring a benefit to yourself. Like. You want to be social with other people. Yeah. So why are you talking to other people while you're with people?
Here's the disconnect, though, between like the way I see it and the way... Because some people... like I don't think texting is like... I don't use that as means of conversation. Just it's like purely communication. Like, where are you? Where should I be? Like that. Yeah. That's all I use texting for. But now... some people use it to like actually have conversations with their friends. Yeah. Which I'll sometimes send someone funny. You know, it's like, you should really check this thing out that I found is really funny. And then you respond. That's one thing. But like... Just throughout your day, I don't see that as like a continuous conversation.
Like it's mostly for like if you can't call them, basically. Yeah, that's what it is. But if it's like something you don't have like a real conversation, it's like
obviously if you're on your own.
How do you feel about this?
There's no one around to ignore. Then do your thing.
You know, Americans have a lot of fake diseases, like.
Oh my god.
It's like a first world problem.
I'm already pissed off. Like just because you brought it up, I'm already fucking angry.
I need to hear this.
Just Americans have it pretty well generally, so we make up problems for ourselves. Like especially my generation, like everyone has, I'm depressed, or I can't sleep, so I have to take this medication or something. And no, your problem isn't you're depressed. You have something else going on. You're not happy with your life.
I'll tell everyone.
Like, you don't need to take
on the other side of this microphone right now from experience. If you can sleep at night and eat regularly, you're not depressed. I'm just going to be honest. If you have motivation to get up and do stuff, like if you're just feeling kind of like, nah, I don't have anything to do, like you're not depressed.
Yeah.
I think that gets to
people. For some people,
I know for real now. Right?
Also, if you isolate yourself to the degree that you only talk to people like on a computer or something, and you ignore your family, and you go to school and don't talk to anybody, yeah, you're going to be sad. Drugs that's not gonna fix the problem.
Talking to people will, though. You should do that.
Walk
up to a random person and just say, hey, my name's insert name here. You try to talk to them.
And if you're scared to death, consider our ancestry and how we evolved. Your ancestors fought fucking tigers that just appeared out of nowhere in an instant. You can walk up to a person and say, "Hi, you motherfucker."
Yeah, because that's like how we got past the fact that you had to kill a tiger on your own. You got other people to help
What's
you.
really messed up, and like this is actually messed up to me. We say that every kid has ADD because they can't pay attention at school, and we teach them like the most meaningful bullshit.
Yeah.
That went a little farther than it needed to, but honestly, like elementary school kids, when like kids are hyper. I was one of those hyper little kids. So like, and like I don't have ADD of any sort, and like the difference for me, I'm not claiming to be a genius, but like my elementary school was like it was so easy. The work was so incredibly easy.
Same.
So some kids, I guess, weren't born with like just a certain level of smart. Because I don't know where I rank on that, but like I'm smart enough to like just do the really easy 7 times 8 multiplication. Like I can do all that. We get those math sheets.
What is that, by the way?
Just multiplicate what?
What is 7 times 8?
56, brother. I can do this.
Boom! Did not whip out a calculator.
You get those worksheets with problems just like
Yeah.
that. We get like literally 100 problems. I do it in a minute. Like that's how easy.
Yeah.
And then some, and there's some kids who can't do that. And those kids, they're like, oh, the kid's got ADD. You can't like do 100 stupid problems. And then that was a really long explanation to get to the actual messed up part, which is we give these kids medication
We give them...
that they don't need.
Ritalin.
We give
And
them
they get addicted, and then
drugs.
they do cocaine when they're not on the. This actually happens. I've personally met people who were on ADD meds who jumped to cocaine when they were old, and they said you don't need them anymore. That's the messed up part.
The weird thing is, like,
Makes me angry.
in part, you're right that like the education system sucks. In Europe, they don't divide people by age so much. I think they do, but not as much as we do. It's divided by skill. If you suck at math, you don't all go to the same high school and go to the same math class. If you're bad at math, you go to this one. If you're mediocre, you're in this one. If you're really good at it, you go to this one. Which makes sense.
So it's like a college
It's
system.
basically
Kind of.
it's college.
Well, I feel like college is still kind of the same system.
No,
Like,
you
you're all
take,
in one
like, you
class.
take like a placement test.
Yeah.
If you can't do this, you go here. If you can do this, you go here. And if you can do this, which they don't expect you to be able to do, you go here.
Kind of.
Well, the
But
problem
I mean,
today.
even once you're in that class, though, it's like the same speed for everyone. So what this system is, it's more like if you're really good at math,
This
it's a
is
higher
ridiculous,
speed.
though.
Like,
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
yeah.
There must be, like, there's something we don't know here that because we're not teachers, but there's something that's preventing teachers from telling parents, I think, that, like, your kid needs to be able to do these things. Like, I think we should be able to tell parents their kids are stupid, basically. But, like,
But I don't think parents need to like teach their kid. Like, I don't think people should have to go to school,
disagree
get home from school, and do more
100%
schoolwork.
with you. It is entirely upon the parent to make sure that their child is a functioning member of society.
I definitely agree with that. I'm just saying, like, the school system, if that's their solution to the problem, something's wrong. You're sending your kid to school for 8 hours a day. They have to go home and do more schoolwork.
yeah, like, what do you
Well,
spend
like,
your time on?
what's the school doing? That's
Well, it also brings up the fact, are they actually learning something that's going to be... Are they learning things that can help them build upon other things to actually do something?
It turns out kids are smart. Then, like, kids nowadays, we all knew when we went to school that a lot of it's bullshit. A lot of the classes are just nonsense. That really prevented me from trying a lot of classes.
Yeah.
Because why does it matter? You get a good grade, so what? High school diploma at the end of it.
You know, it's funny. There's in the back of my mind the whole time. There's a little bit of paranoia that like not trying in this class is gonna suck later, and like you get accepted to college and not paying attention in history classes like just does not matter in the slightest.
Dude, man, I feel that way about calculus, and it was true. It hurt so bad.
I mean, here's what I figured out through that is that someone at the age of 9 or 10 already has the common sense to know what they do and don't need to pay attention to. Because, like, I grasped on to the simple math. Like, I did that. You know, I made sure I could multiply small numbers because that's always relevant. You go to the store and you buy, you know, you want to buy these 5 things and you have $10. Can you afford it? That's always going to be relevant. But I'm not going to go to the store and need to know, like, where the Native Americans used to live in this area.
Or how to properly construct a sentence, because they'll be able to figure it out regardless, no matter how stupid you sound.
Exactly.
I mean, I would
But,
disagree about some of that, but I mean, kids are smart enough to know when it's not, like, necessary. A lot of that's like bad teachers. Like, you don't like history class if you don't have a good history teacher. That's universal for every class.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Except math. Even if you have a good math teacher, math can still suck.
Yeah, it's just hard.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's me saying it, but like
That's
other people
universal.
say it's great, but it's something that a lot of people struggle with. So
I think the problem is that school hasn't, just the way we teach has to adapt to the, what do we need to adapt to? Help me
I
out.
think that we don't actually know how smart kids are.
Yeah, you don't measure
And
them
we
well.
teach under that for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, I think that if you taught kids at a certain rate and just tried it, that they'd be able to learn.
You know, it's
at a
probably
much
not as
greater
easy as
rate.
I think it is now, because you say that, like, the curve's really low, but then there's still kids who fall below that.
There are.
There, you do, like, you go back to, like, addition and subtraction, you've already lost some kids. I guess we gotta find the root of that problem, too.
The European system is more like not everyone has to go to college. And here we're so streamlined. Okay, get ready to go to college. Keep going, keep moving. We need more tradespeople. So in Europe, it's okay. At some point, you take this test. Which one are you more apt for? And if you get, you're more apt for trades. Go ahead, go be a trades guy.
Yeah, it's true.
I
Good.
wish that we had had that, honestly.
College is an experience, though. I just want to, like,
It totally
Yeah.
is.
there's so much more to it than the classes. But,
It totally is. I highly recommend going, even if it's only for a semester. But what was I thinking?
honestly, for the people out there wondering, like, could I just show up to a really big lecture and then take in all the information, even though I don't attend the college?
Yes, you can. In fact,
Absolutely.
that's actually how a lot of people decide whether or not they want to go there.
That's a word I'd like to spread.
Just do it.
Go to a big university and sit in the lecture halls if there's an open
Go to
chair.
your local state university and just sit in on lecture.
Just wait a month, because that's when kids stop showing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They wait to see, like, does he do attendance? Are there daily quizzes? And when there's not, kids stop going. Then you take their seats and take it all in.
Yep. But
Find
for more
the good professors.
For more younger kids, it's actually been proven that they need more exercise time. And that makes sense if you think about like our evolution and how kids weren't always sitting in a classroom.
Yeah.
What were you doing when you were little? You're probably chasing animals and trying to kill them.
Or running away from them.
Yeah.
Because they could try to kill you.
Even when
It
you were
turns out
running
you
around.
fucked with the wrong raccoon and he's after
That one got rabies.
you. Yeah, dude, I mean, kids are fat today. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
And part of the problem is the basically anybody who should tell them is too afraid or knows the consequences of telling kids that they're fat today.
Yeah. This is kind of irrelevant, but it's kind of the same with love nowadays. A lot of people just have sex for the sake of sex instead
Yeah.
of like
Yeah.
they think sex is love, I guess, and no one's telling them that there's a difference.
Yeah, I don't get the one night stand thing.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's intentional. Sometimes people just get super drunk and you wake up, you're like, "Fuck, that happened." But like, some people seek that out.
Yeah. That's weird.
There's actually a study that
Basically the bros at college just want to like nail every woman they can find. I don't get it. I mean, I don't need to get it.
I mean, for one,
don't want
STDs. Just throwing it out there.
I didn't hear you. Sorry.
For one, STDs.
Oh, yeah.
kind of a risk. Might want to think about that. Also, never stick your dick in crazy.
That problem almost solves it. Like, only the dudes who sleep with like 500 women actually encounter the problem of STDs.
Yeah, and the women
That problem
who they
just
sleep
stays
with
within its
aren't
own stupid
necessarily
community.
that smart. No offense to women who have one night stands. Once again, if you're drinking, yes.
In
it's
some
understandable.
cases, that's a profession, right? Make money. Do it.
That's horrible. I mean,
I think it's a legitimate job. I'm going to be honest.
I don't understand one night stands from a few different perspectives, but one of them is there was a study that came out, and you'd leave it up to me to pull out a study for one night stands, right?
I would. in
Joe's
fact.
up at 1 a.m. He's like, "Wait, how the fuck?" And he's just like, like psychological background of one night stands. All right,
Not to sleep.
Explain.
a little bit. There's a study that married sex is more satisfying than like one night stands, and
I believe it.
I'd say married, but long term relationship stuff because you get your kinks out.
Yeah, you don't have to be like,
So this is
Kink
they
gonna
like
make
this one. They like this?
Yeah.
Let me try it. Oh, no, they don't.
yeah, pretty much. So it
Well,
doesn't make
with
sense.
relationships, some people are in relationships just to be in relationships too. So it's kind of the same concept, I think, to verify themselves. I guess I don't know.
But I mean,
Yeah.
so one night stands only make sense if you're like drunk to me. And other
Even
than
then.
that, it does. Even then, it's like
But then it doesn't make sense to you. You can't like I don't. That's why I think those situations when like the girl says the guy attacked her or whatever. Like when two people are drunk, like that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's why I think you get up and you leave and you don't make a mess.
There's so many bad stories about that kind of thing going around now too.
Oh, yeah.
About, they had consensual sex and the woman's like, "Oh, you have some money, you raped me," and then the
Oh,
system
really?
is such at the time that
That's one of those things that I have extreme ire
if there's
for.
two people in a
Yeah.
room You had consensual sex, male and female. The woman says you raped them. Yeah, you're going to jail, bub.
I haven't gone to the crazy college parties for like that kind of reason, just other kind of crazy stuff that happens.
Yeah, I don't trust people.
I don't know from experience, but I know from other people's experience that when you get drunk enough, you could wake up literally anywhere. Alright? You could wake up... Joe, you don't even know the story yet. You could wake up with your mouth on a toilet. Mm-hmm. I'll just tell this. I mean, we're recording. This is perfect. I'm up in a friend's dorm, and our friend, he comes in just completely wasted. He's so, and he starts telling me something. He doesn't get through one sentence, and he's like, "Where's the bathroom in this building?" And we escort him to the bathroom, and he just vomits his brains out.
I remember this.
And then another friend and I, we go check on him. We're like, "Man, you okay?" And he's like, "I wasn't even drinking tonight. I just have the flu." And it turns out the reason he said that, because when he retold his recollection of the story, he's like, 2 RAs walked in. They weren't RAs, it was me and it was 2 friends. But anyway, so he's like explaining to the RAs, air quotes, that he just has the flu and he wasn't actually drinking that night. And then he comes back to the room, and then eventually he's like, I need to leave. And we're at the elevator. He's like, where's the bathroom in this building? We get him back in there, and we're just like, let's just give him some space. And then there's like 2 or 3 hours of time that go by where he is gone. This is the funniest part of the story. Like he's totally he goes AWOL basically. We check the bathroom and we walk around, but he wakes up in that bathroom. That's the crazy part. And meanwhile, another friend, he gets drunk and he's outside and he's lost. So his bright idea, he's like, He gets cold, so he gets in his car, but his car's cold, so he drives around in circles in the parking lot to warm up his car.
Well, his heat doesn't work if the car isn't moving. That's the reason why.
So this is just clarify the dumbest night ever. Yeah, underage drinking going on the internet. I wasn't drunk. I'm clean.
Yeah, I was also not drunk.
I legitimately wasn't. So I can tell the story. But yeah, how did I even get to that story?
Could pass out anywhere.
Oh yeah.
Wake up places.
I was talking about why I don't go to college parties, because I've seen plenty of people pass out in toilets, wake up with women they don't want to be around, and almost get kicked out of school.
Yeah, it's just life choices, folks.
So
college is worthless if you don't actually get an internship while you're there, or something like that.
I disagree, actually.
Fairly useless.
What you're saying is true, but
in terms of career development,
it doesn't actually have to be an internship. You just need to take in a lot of experience while you're at the university.
You need to.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
Internships are preferable.
Yeah.
I'd say the point of college really is just to the primary thing is education, so you actually know things. But beyond that, it's experiencing life.
Yeah.
You need being those crazy parties or
specifically on your own. That's the catch.
Yeah. It's living and understanding what you are, who you are, why you do things, and just finding out why.
I think that's secondary. Or not even secondary. I think what's after secondary? Thirdary? Is that a word?
Tertiary.
Wow. Didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Joe was blown away.
I learned it because of things that go boom.
You just gotta get out there, you gotta be active, and basically you need to learn everything by experience, which means you just have to have a lot of bad things happen to you.
Yeah, we're going back to the Transcendentalists.
Oh god, I hated them.
So I think secondary is the experience, though, and specifically job experience. Because if you're paying money to be at college and you're going into debt, you better get a good job at the end of it, because otherwise you're going to be crying for 20 years.
Yeah, but what if it's really an experience that you fully
is 4 years of a good experience worth $45,000 of debt?
People would argue that.
This is
if
an
you're paying for 20
overused.
years, though,
people would argue it.
This is an overused saying, but I think it only applies to college. Is that you get what you put into it? Because high school, I realized no matter what I put in, I got a mediocre grade back, and then occasionally I would just have a stroke of genius and then get a really good grade for something, and it had no real connection to my effort. College is actually what you put into it, because if you stay in your dorm all day, you get nothing. You go out and you meet people and you try to find work and you pay attention to your classes and stuff. Because that is the situation yes, it will be on the test, pay attention. But I feel in high school, there's this huge window. I've tried to quantify this. I've tried to come up with this in so many ways. There's just a window of effort where you can kind of try really hard and usually get the same result. And then the polar ends of it are the people who are really fucking smart who get awesome grades, and people who are really fucking stupid and fail everything. But all the amounts of like intelligence and effort in the middle will just get you like a not the best grade and not the worst grade. It just gets you in there.
Yeah.
So
I think it's 100% true.
the point of that is know who you are.
Yeah.
And then just gauge your because I know I fall into the middle there. So if I try really hard or if I don't try that much, I get the same grade. So why not just there it is.
And that's one of the things you learn in college.
Yeah. Nietzsche had a weird theory that anyone, no matter who you are, and it's Nietzsche, so take it with a grain of salt. But his theory of freedom was if you're CEO, you're a businessman, you're in school or something, if at least a third of your day isn't your own, you are not free. And so bringing that concept into high school, for
I've
me,
been
was like
doing it the whole time.
I see the effort,
Yes, dude, I'm a genius.
I see the effort that someone would put in to get A's in every single class, and to me, it's not worth it. Like, you go home and you do more schoolwork all day, and then you go back to school, repeat for 4 years.
Yeah.
Not worth it to me, so I was a minimalist.
I'll bring up another overuse saying that ties perfectly into that. C's get degrees.
Not in my field.
Okay.
You legit need at least a B in order to get it. It's bullshit in my opinion. But whatever.
Well, no, I need to do slightly better in my major.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if you're interested in your major, it's pretty easy to do good because you're interested in it. So the time you spend in it,
It
doesn't
turns
feel like
out
work.
I picked. At least people are telling me I picked an easy major. I can't compare because I'm taking other stuff. But
Yeah, who knows?
the culture of it is when you make fun of the person who has all the easy classes, apparently you make fun of the psych majors because nobody knows that communication exists. Because if people
Really?
did, they'd probably be like, I mean, yeah.
I make fun of the English majors.
Well, I mean, everyone does.
Can we talk about?
Can we talk
certain
about what are we naming this person?
Bagel?
Bagel, sure, Bagel.
That's what we call it.
I am not in on this.
Voice to astrophysics to English all freshman year.
To English? Are you kidding me? I hope you're listening to this.
Yeah, one of our
I'm
co-hosts
upset
is
at
freaking out.
I'm upset at him.
Body's having spasms.
However, I can only hope that he changes his mind once more.
I legitimately knew almost nothing about my major going into it. I just knew where it could get me. So that's why I picked it. And then it just turns out to be easier than... I guess it makes sense. Like, science is really in-depth. And then...
English.
Science is
English and common, I guess psychology, you play everything by ear, right? You look at people and you see what you do, that you see people's behavior and you say, I guess that's what people do.
Yeah, it's less like you can't quantify it as easily.
Yeah. But
Like
then when you study
is like-
science and you hand it in, someone says, no, you're fucking wrong. And you can't argue it. But like psychology, all you do is you argue, right?
Psychology?
Yeah, people just
I
argue.
don't know. I've taken one psych class.
Me too, I'm a genius.
I've never taken
I know everything
psychology.
now.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's important to some things. Like, you deal with, like, schizophrenia and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Become a therapist,
Not
that kind of
undermining
thing.
it at all. It's an important field of, like,
All I know is
exploration.
the people I know who are in psych never talk about psych, but the science majors are always talking about their sciencey things, so it just says a lot about like the workload.
The English majors, I feel so bad for those people. They're always the weird people.
I went out of my
I'm
way.
sorry if you're an English major, by the way. We're ratting on you a bit, and you probably get this all the time from, like, your family and friends.
used to it.
Then you go on the internet, and they rat on you more.
I panicked the other day. I went out of my way. I was like, "Wait, Kevin, am I a liberal arts major?" He's like, "Oh no." We remember that I'm in because I'm in social and behavioral sciences. It's a sciences college.
Oh yeah.
So don't
Is it?
I get like a
If you get a BS, that's all I know.
yeah.
Is that what you're going for?
Bachelor of Science.
Because you can tell.
It's 4 years, right?
Well,
Yeah, bachelor's
bachelors are, but like there's like a paper or something that tells you whether or not you are.
Bachelor of
Like
Science.
it's like you have to take these classes for a Bachelor of Science, this one for a Bachelor of Arts.
Well, I know what my graduation requirements are, and it's a 4-year.
Well,
It's a 4-year thing.
yeah,
So
you have to look at it. Because I remember Bagel's astrophysics thing. He could get a Bachelor of Arts for it, which I don't know how you would get that out of astrophysics.
I feel bad because the humanities are important. It just
Oh my
the
god,
place
I
for them
love
aren't anywhere.
humanities. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's so interesting, but it's just not going to get me a job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm kind of lucky in that what I'm majoring in, economics, is interesting to me too, and I'd be okay spending my life in economics. So, I don't know. But if I wasn't, I was looking for something that would get me money and income because that's kind of, important.
I've learned to understand because like taking econ classes, I hate them, but I realize why people. I can understand why people like econ so much now because I was talking to my friend Walter, who we don't have to censor his name because this isn't a drunk story, and he's of age anyways. But anyway, he's majoring in the economics and like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we drew like he just loves stats. And like he's a stat freak, and so am I. I do fantasy baseball, and I scroll down the list, and I just look at all the batting averages and all the runs and all that stuff. So like we kind of drew the connection if like he's in it because he's a stat freak and I do some sports stuff because I'm a stat freak. So there's a connection there. The rest is probably not connected whatsoever. But there's your Venn diagram. There's like a centimeter of overlap.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to talk about my major, but I'm going to skip it because economics is interesting to the economists.
It's important, I suppose.
Okay, the reason I brought... Well, maybe I didn't bring up school. The reason I want to talk about school anyways is because you can write a paper on a topic you know nothing about, and you can write an essay on a book you've never read now, and it's being treated as if it's the student's fault. They're like, you could try, you could read the book. This is what the teachers tell you. I'm speaking from their perspective. It's like, you could read the book and you could pay attention and you could write a good essay. And you're like, or I could not.
Can I take the stage here just to like say something?
I think I'm done. Go ahead.
I didn't read a single book for the last 2 years of high school English.
Seconded.
I passed every paper easily.
Seconded.
It was ridiculous.
Seconded.
Like, I mean, I don't
All
know.
comments.
Like, I'm sorry if you're a teacher out there, but like, I don't know.
You're doing it wrong.
Also, if you're in high school, I'd maybe try it. I don't want to tell you to because you might fail if you're not.
Here's the book
smart.
I like to bring up about that because we read Catch-22.
Oh my god, I should have read that book.
Well, here's the thing. That's a complicated book because it's not in chronological order. It just jumps from story to story to story to story. And I got a good grade on an essay on a complicated book about all these plots within plots within plots that I didn't even read. That's how incredibly easy it is. I'll just throw
read
in
the book, though.
like
It's
in the
book.
world of academics, my only like natural skill is writing. Like I'm bad at everything else, so I can write. So I just want to like preface it with like I actually know how to write, and I'm bad at other things. So I
mean, our school was something like the best school for English class consistently, or something like that.
Yeah, whatever.
It was pretty good in English in the state of Massachusetts, which means it's the leading one in the nation. Let's be honest.
Don't brag.
I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, other states. What's up?
Well, then the thing you throw in is like it's not even anything to write home about, and we're still leading in stuff.
I think we did have a fairly good English class compared to.
Back to the point.
Yeah, what I want to say is it's the teachers that need to adjust what they assign. Like the problem is I don't have a solution to it, but it's also not my job to. But
that's true.
It same applies to science papers. I mean, this is it gets pushed, and then the students break that, and it's like you can't use Wikipedia because Wikipedia blows up, and they can't use Wikipedia. So then what you do is you go on Wikipedia, and then you read what you read, and there's a little number, and it brings you down to the source. And you click that website first of all, so there's where you get your source on your paper. You're like, great, I have something that's not Wikipedia to put on it. Second of all, you see that Wikipedia or the words from that page just copy and pasted onto the Wikipedia page. So this notion that there are fucking little elves that go on Wikipedia and change all the information to be wrong, I don't understand, because that certainly doesn't happen because it's all copy and pasted. So the students get around that because you use Wikipedia as a bridge. And then the second thing, I see you. Let me finish the train of thought. The second thing is it's all about like they try to get you with you got to put it in your own words, and like plagiarism's stupid. Like you shouldn't plagiarize, obviously, but like you also don't have to retain information because they almost tell you how to bullshit your paper when they say put it in your own words, because you go on the page and blah 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 World War II, rearrange the words. There's your first paragraph, right? I still don't know anything about World War II. I found the words about it it's like research this. Oh, there's those keywords, and you rearrange it, and there's your paper. So I can write a paper on the site they told me not to use and get a good grade.
To some degree, it's one of those things that like the amount of effort you put into it is what you get out of it. Like if you want to learn about World War II, like you can do more effort and research.
Definitely.
Like actually researching things takes forever.
Exactly.
It's but
no one does it.
Even with the internet, that's the crazy thing.
We don't have to look through.
It can't get much better than what we have, and it's still a pain.
Yeah, that's the worst part about writing research papers, in my opinion. But anyway, back to Wikipedia. It's just it does get bombed sometimes, but not in the way you'd expect. I mean, certainly there's some people that go in and change things just for funny things.
They change small things. They change very, very small things that won't go noticed for a really long time.
No. I mean, people who change it, I think, do it for the lulz and just change a lot of things like really obvious.
So like wreck the
No, but like legitimate like people who go on just like to literally fuck with people. They change the smallest things.
Yeah,
I've gone on for subjects that I'm fairly well read about or something, and I'll read something on it, and it's just not true, or it's worded in a way that you think it's not like accurate. And I guess you can get this other places, but it's just just by random people.
What things are you talking about? Just ask.
It was something about how King Darius never existed on Wikipedia, and I was like, "What? That's no,
give me some context.
Do you really want the context for this? Because it's something I would do. Like
tiny bit.
Okay.
Give me
the reason I know so much history
the 20-second version.
Okay. I know a lot of history because when I was younger, I wanted to learn more about history, so I learned all about the empires of the world, primarily through Wikipedia.
Cool.
And I wrote a paper on it.
All right.
Yep.
See?
20 seconds? I don't know.
Right
I don't know how long
there,
that was.
everyone.
Right.
If you're interested in something, just go for it.
Just go research it yourself. It's pretty easy.
Unless it's like...
Wikipedia is a good overview, but if you want to get deeper. But anyway, the thing I was actually thinking about Wikipedia was Mitt Romney, when he was running, his staff started changing Wikipedia of his vice presidential candidate, which I honestly don't even remember who it was at this point.
Bug him.
You're looking at the wrong person.
I wanted to say Joe Biden, but that's definitely not right.
Certainly Joe Biden.
If you tried to look it up right now, would we find that?
I don't think it's that relevant. But anyway, they started changing his Wikipedia. Was it even his? I don't even remember that. Why am I forgetting this? Anyway, they changed the Wikipedia and started making it more desirable and adding in... Because, when people write Wikipedias, it's kind of like general and overviews and all that kind of stuff. And so they started adding good things about them, like, oh, he supported this bill and that kind of thing. So it's easily manipulated, I guess is my point.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know. There's no way to know that.
Yeah, it's like instead of writing a paper on the war, I'm just using this as a random example, but it's like the page is subtly reworded to make it sound more like this country won, even though they didn't.
Yeah, something like that. It's like if you read any kind of book that's, I don't know, history book, it's all about the perspective they give.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing with anything, I guess, but especially Wikipedia, because anyone can edit it. So if you go into some subject and you know a lot about it, but you disagree with the overview, or you don't like that one theory or something, you just...
Yeah.
Well, I'd put in a alternate view and make it seem... glorify that one personally. I'd be subtle about it.
It depends on the integrity of the person editing it, which I guess, I don't know, hit and miss, so...
Good point.
Wikipedia is good for overview, that's my point. I wouldn't trust it much more than that.
My point.
It's good for bullshitting papers, too, yes.
Yeah, it was just,
That's how I read 1984.
The follow-up is that there's no point in assigning research papers and essays because the kids who don't care... I think this is mostly in high schools. When you get to college, you pick your classes, and generally you can get a couple that you like, right? At least, but in high school, kids learn... I'd say most of the class, just a guess, would learn approximately nothing from a research paper on whatever you assign them because you don't actually have to take in any information to write the paper anymore.
You think so?
I know from experience that you just don't...
Yeah.
I passed on the French Revolution unit we did, and I never at any point knew what was going on.
Yeah, I have King Louis, he commissioned people to
the king was bad, and then...
Well, he was bad because, the nobility was just...
It's going to be interesting who listens to this, fucking uneducated kids. Yeah. They don't know our history. But
we're not history.
French, so...
Yeah.
I'm a little French.
I still don't know any American history past the Civil War.
Yeah.
Thank you, high school education.
Anyways, the point is, I'd say, I don't know, how much, what, should we come up with a percent? How many kids out of a class would you say don't care and would take this method of not actually researching and just writing the paper, rewording?
I don't know.
If it's a history class, I'd say at least 75% of the kids would easily be like, I'm not going to actually care about this.
Yeah, I don't really want to put a stamp on it, but I feel like that's one of the reasons for history classes. It's usually tests instead of papers, at least in my experience.
Yeah, fair point.
I've been owned by history tests before, so there you go.
I've had my ass kicked by math tests. Math tests are where you go to just learn that you're not good at things you thought you were okay at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're there to put you in your place.
Math should be optional after 9th grade, though, or possibly earlier.
I do really bad at math after
I'm not sure what you guys should know.
Point. If I have to... I think about math too much, and if I don't think about it, I do good. But if I think about, is this really how you do it, and I start to second guess myself, I do awful.
I feel like you should, for... How far do we think education should go? I want to pose that to you guys.
It's...
something
you should never
high school
stop.
education, I mean.
Okay.
How far should that go in teaching you in various subjects? How far?
Well, the thing is, I think it needs to branch out more and give options.
Yeah, it needs to
You know
be
what I mean?
based on the individual.
Find out what kids are
We need
good
the
at.
baseline. What's the baseline that everyone
Okay.
must know?
Let's give a real answer.
That's what I want to know. Yeah, this is legit because I was thinking about it.
One, you need to know the history of your country, at least a rudimentary where you came from, who are important people. So if you hear people talking about it, you don't sit there like, durr.
What do you mean by rudimentary? Like just
Okay, like who's the father of the country?
like major people who caused who had large impact upon the society.
Yeah,
right?
there's two different ways to view history, and one is the what happened, and the other is how it works.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that what happened is the one you need to focus on really strongly. Like, how did the United States become
Really?
the United States?
Oh,
Like-
okay, yeah.
Like that kind of thing. And
That's
then a
how it
little bit
happened.
of how it works, and just really basic levels. Like, I think you could do all that in under a year or something in a history class. Math, it depends on what the kid wants to do. You need a test to decide, is a kid going to be a tradesman, or is he going to go to college? Is he going to be...
Lowest required level of everything. That's what I want to know.
I'm going to say
Algebra.
multiplication and division into the thousands. That's the most complicated math you need to know.
Really?
I'd say algebra. Not very complex algebra, but algebra.
Like 2x plus y equals 20 or whatever those problems are. Like that sort of
something
thing.
like that.
All right. What about
Basic algebra.
English? In like
English, you need. I would raise the bar there significantly. You need to
be able to write
speak your
intelligibly.
language.
all right, that seems fair. What-
So speak your language well. Be able to write intelligently. Yes. There's
What
the
about the
generalizations
sciences?
to throw out. That's hard.
Yeah,
Sciences are hard.
I'd make it mostly
Like, should
focused on biology.
Like another thing comes up: should like the basic level even require that much science? To be perfectly honest,
No,
Nah.
it needs.
as much as I love science, I think it's important.
Yes, it's great.
I'm not sure personally.
I think the science could be the thing that, like, changes frequently. Like, I don't know, 2-month rotation or something. Like
That's-
astronomy for 2 months,
that is
then.
not-
You know what I think
I don't know.
about
I've just-
science?
What?
I'll have to explain this because anyone listening, but like I think our nature class should be a science class.
Dude, that would have been the best.
And what
Oh
for,
my God.
for listeners, we learn about wild plants you can eat and animal tracks and what animals will eat what animals and how to build shelters and start fires. The root of that is all science, and it's all like basic, outside of your house information
Just to be more
that
specific.
you wouldn't normally just like happen upon. Because
Yeah.
I think if you're smart, you don't eat random mushrooms. You just eat the good ones.
And
But
if you're
you don't just know that. So
Just to be more specific, we went to a school where you had a few electives. It was like art and tech and nature, I think.
in music,
And everyone liked nature because you could go outside. But it's also interesting, too, because you learned about, plants and stuff like that.
plus the teachers were
So,
calm.
and-
we were just
immersion
lucky
technique.
enough to have actually really good teachers for that. That's part
An
of it.
immersion technique would be good for sciences. Like, you want to learn, you choose what science you want to learn, then they send you off to some, if it's astronomy, go look through that telescope. That's what you're doing this year. How about something like that? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would, but let's restructure the entire education system.
Yes, it needs to be restructured.
Not entirely.
I think it needs a complete overhaul.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think it needs to be.
I don't think you need to be in school for 8 or 9 hours or whatever. I don't think we need to learn most of the stuff we learn. It's funny because any kid who says he doesn't like homework, you're like, look, kid doesn't want to work. But like,
No, but it's true, though. Like, homework's stupid.
A lot of homework doesn't do anything.
if it doesn't fit into the day, I don't think it's important.
Yeah.
If you can't fit it into the 8 hours in school, you don't need to do it.
Unless it's like a research paper and you
Yes,
and you
yes, something like
somehow
that.
motivate the person to actually learn
that.
about the subject and retain it after they've
I
written.
think like the
The
math
United
sheets that
States-
you send home, just the root of it.
Yeah.
Just like you're just giving them a shitty afternoon when you make them do math at home. That's just that.
Well, I mean, for some math, like is when you get into higher level math, like it's actually important to practice it so that you like
Yeah.
notice the patterns and what you
Yeah.
need to look for.
but like,
I mean, at some point. So.
but math should also like be optional after a certain point. So you like.
Well, I mean,
What I want to do in life includes math, and then you take that class and you're going to have
That
homework.
test you were talking about.
yes, that you have some sort of test. But the United States system is so old. We had one of the first public school systems in the world. Okay, that's why ours sucks so much now. It's old. It's broken. It's from industrialization. You still assign kids to classes based on their age and not their skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 200 years old. What do we expect?
Also, the food, man, the food in gym classes and stuff needs to be stepped up.
Yeah. Getting back to how kids want to run around more. Kids perform better when they have longer recesses and
Yeah.
stuff. You give them like a
Well,
2-hour
kids are like
recess.
dogs,
I'm talking
man,
like
let's be
2 hours.
honest.
Yeah. I'm talking like a 2-hour recess, though. Not like a 30-minute...
Let them play and give them good food and they'll love you forever.
Pretty much, yeah. When kids should be excited about school. How about we just operate off that
I'm actually going to
premise?
say, a bit just on the recess thing, I'd say shorter when they're younger and like as they're older and like actually learn to value that time, you extend the breaks.
I disagree and did the exact opposite, honestly. Once you get older, you can sit in a room longer and not be like, oh, I want to run around. That's like, do I really have to run around?
Okay. I'm thinking like with kindergartners, you let them outside for half an hour, they'll probably just run nonstop, right?
In a circle.
And then by the time you're in maybe, I guess anywhere from 10th grade through, I won't say college because you're on your own at that point, so like 10th, 11th, 12th grade when you've done a few hours of work, and then you let them... Let students go out for lunch and like just go do whatever the fuck they want for 2 hours and then come back to class. They'll probably be so much better.
I mean,
that's what I meant. I
think if you do that because once you get up to that level, the
sweet.
stuff you're doing is more complex. Your classes have to be longer.
Yeah.
I'd say you need to expand the day by 2 hours ish if you do that.
Which
I think would be a problem if you did enjoy all your classes and had like the science thing that's like immersion based.
It's basically college.
I actually have a thing though, like if school was extended to be year-round, I don't care what anyone says, that's how it should be done. And they made the days shorter and dedicated, like, maybe half the day to a subject, like, it would be much more efficient.
Completely disagree.
Really?
If it's year-round, do you like, graduate earlier?
Probably not.
No, like, you just trim off part of the day so that it goes year-round.
The only way I would
Because I forget so much stuff over the course of a break.
It's true, but I mean, the only way I would
Kids
support
need jobs, man. That's
summer being gone
That too.
is with the complete reconstruction of the schools.
Yeah,
complete
this
overhaul.
isn't just like a...
Yeah, I mean, if
you
they
take school as it is now...
like
and
every
then
year,
lop off
the executive
part of it.
branch comes back up and says we're going to get rid of the school vacations, and the teachers' unions are never going to let that happen, thank God. And that's the only time I'm going to praise teachers' unions,
Which
by the way.
That's actually terrible because they don't get paid during those months, and it's awful. Just throwing that out there.
I thought they did. I thought teachers got paid over the summer.
They don't work.
I know. I thought they got paid anyway.
Do they like collect
I'm
unemployment?
fairly
for 2 months or
certain that
something?
they don't.
I don't know, actually.
I'm fairly certain that they do not. If
Actually,
anyone
I
who's
said that
listening
almost
knows
as a
this.
joke, but that happens.
What?
Like a lot of people have seasonal jobs. They will like
Really?
Choose to collect unemployment.
Those assholes. Sorry if you're one
Neil
of those
told us
people.
about that. Nature teacher mentioned earlier. He said he had a couple buddies who worked at like what do you call a place like Berkshire East?
Ski resort?
A ski resort, and they'd work that place during the winter, and then over the summer they'd just collect unemployment.
Mm-hmm. A
No.
lot of people do that.
Don't-
Martha's Vineyard. A lot of people do.
So you're telling
seasonal
me-
jobs and unemployment.
So you're telling me that I could work for half the year and get paid for a full year?
Well, unemployment, I don't know how good
I think the
it
key is that you're still actively
Looking.
seeking employment.
Oh, actively seeking employment.
Which is
I can
pretty much
submit
what you
job applications to everywhere
And then
in
the-
the fucking state,
but I'm saying
and
the-
then decline them one by one if that means that I get paid.
I think I'm totally guessing, but I think the way you stay like in this awesome loop is that like you do get jobs. You know,
But you get it at the end of the time that they would pay for it, right?
I think so.
Those motherfuckers. That's I don't like that. We
Because
should get rid of unemployment.
seasonal unemployment's a real thing.
It's
Get
good to get rid of.
Like,
You know, farmers.
yeah, and they do shit during the rest of the time.
Yeah, I'm sure they do, but like the example I said before,
Farmers is kind of like bad pay all year round.
Yeah,
most people farm because they want to. I think.
yeah,
Right?
it's respectable. That's a respectable profession.
I can understand the mindset.
I think it's
of wanting to be a
respectable. I
farmer.
don't think it's publicly acceptable. Well, acceptable.
But it's not like a
You ever met a farmer though, and you're like, what a
thing
prick.
that's up here. Like, it's not a
Doesn't happen.
highly esteemed job. Like,
Yeah.
no one like aspires to be a farmer. I think that
People
should be
born
changed.
into the farm families
But we-
are definitely
Yeah.
grow up in.
Because I think that maybe that's because like
We have a weird
am.
view of work. You ever notice
do you mean?
that? Like, work has to be fun. You have to enjoy it. It's work.
I disagree. Yeah,
Well, it's 'cause
I
people-
wash dishes.
I think I know the root of this. I was thinking about this sort of thing the other day. People like to throw around, generally just when they hate someone, they're like, and then he's an idiot and he contributes nothing to society. Like, why? Like, why do you need to? Who cares? That's what I think about that.
I think you should contribute to society only because you expect things out of it. You should therefore contribute too.
I just think when you get what you put into it, and then those people who put nothing into it will just be nobody, and then
Yeah, that's how I feel. It should
let
work.
them go.
But that doesn't always happen.
I'm saying with those people, just let them go. Let them go suck at life.
just FYI, my Swedish friend is in the United States, and she's complaining about, why do you guys have so much fried food? That's like the only thing there is to order. Have some salad with fried chicken.
Dude, man. Okay.
She's eating at the wrong places, man.
I'm going to plug so much out of this.
Especially in Western Mass. Are you kidding me?
She's in California.
Okay.
What?
I'm like,
fried food in California, really? I thought they only ate salad.
It's all like tofu and salad and brown rice out here. Right?
What?
Greenfields.
You're in the wrong place.
Greenfields.
I eat
Greenfields Market.
I eat red meat, dairy, and just fried things. Fried pickles, amazing. If you're from the north and haven't had them, fucking eat them. They're so good. Dip them in ranch. You'll love yourself.
Can we go back a step?
Absolutely. I just need to say that.
The way people criticize other people is like what they contribute to society, and I think that has a direct relation to what you were saying about like what we consider to be actually work.
Yeah,
it's like because people will look at like the criticism that like athletes are overpaid. That whole business pays for itself. People buy tickets and they buy shirts and they dump tons of money into it.
It's entertainment.
The owners are already loaded. It's just a cycle of money that has no. It's
let
like
me be clear.
That money should be going elsewhere. So like you're going to walk up to the owner and tell him how to spend his money. I think not.
Let me be clear. For one hand, I don't appreciate how much athletes are paid, but I think it's a reflection of how much we value them. And I'm never going to instruct like a price control over anything like that. I'm not going to say CEOs can't be paid a lot of money because they're doing things for the entire company.
If someone will pay you money for a service, by all means, you should be able to.
I'm never going to say you have to be paid less.
Like if you're gifted at baseball and someone hands you a huge bag of money, you're like, yeah!
I don't see anything wrong with it from like an economic perspective, but I'm upset that our society values it enough that those people get paid that much.
Whatever.
So
it's better than killing people in the streets.
I don't see how that's even in the
modern sports are essentially the Roman equivalent of the gladiator games, which is what kept people from murdering each other over small petty differences because it allowed them to work themselves up and get out all their frustration and just in one place.
I don't think it's quite that.
It's like that.
It is like that, but I don't think it's.
That is what football, that is what hockally, that is what basketball, and that's not what baseball is. That's what soccer is in Europe.
Baseball's
football for them.
Full of Kurt Schillings who actually understand politics and
baseball is really boring. I'm throwing it out. There's a lot of waiting time for them, like one throw.
That's what I mean.
Like people look for the wrong kind of entertainment from baseball. I think.
I watch baseball for the commentators.
I think that's where the term spectator sport comes from. I mean, not literally. That was a terrible. But I mean, that's something you just kick back and have going. You know.
I guess.
Also,
again, I'm not into sports.
Have you been to Fenway Park? So that's a whole different experience.
Oh, he's right. He's right.
Actually attending a baseball game at the home field of a team that actually has fans. That part's important.
Yeah.
I've been to Citi Field at a Mets game. Their fans suck. So like you definitely hate that. Even I didn't like it that much. But if you like go to Fenway, everyone's cheering all the time. It's bright and it's sunny and it's one of the nicer ballparks in the country anyways. And the team doesn't suck. So like. I would recommend to all baseball and non-baseball fans to actually get the real experience out of it.
Yeah, that's fair. But how do you measure what someone puts into a society?
Like, it's completely arbitrary.
Yeah, so,
like, I want to do broadcasting and entertainment.
Like it's a weighted scale.
Pretty easy to argue probably that I will contribute nothing to anything important.
I would disagree. People kind of
say
that a
really
lot about
important.
entertainment, but people would just kill themselves without entertainment.
Exactly. Like it really is.
It's not even a joke.
Yeah.
Like that.
I'll knock them dead.
Yeah. I mean,
but when you get into these kind of discussions, I'm saying some people would say that.
Definitely.
Oh, you want to talk about sports? Fuck off.
I can see people who definitely would think that's not.
Well, it depends on what you're defining as.
I just personally, this is maybe not quite related, but I aim to do what I enjoy. For a living. That's literally all I care about.
Wants to do that.
That's preferable.
I think some people get too far off the road, though.
Really?
They get caught in the cycle of, like, I need a job that pays, man. They end up as plumbers or something. I don't know.
I mean, you need both. I mean, you need a job that pays, and you also need to do something you enjoy.
Yeah.
That's true.
And if you can combine them both, there's an argument that that's not good. Like, people who golf, really like golf, and then become a pro, then it's like, what do I do to relax?
Keep golfing, man.